So what have I got for you today? Something kind of cool. There's a video that I've been impressed that's had a continual push in new viewers to it. It's going to go along with the theme of our aquascaping plants and how we are trying to be budget conscious and grow our own plants. So back just over a month ago, I ordered online from Amazon, and I believe it was Marcus Fish Tanks, one package of dwarf hairgrass. And I was very aggressive, divided it up, put it into a growing chamber that had the API root tabs on the bottom, aqua soil, and then dechlorinated water with a little bit of the liquid fertilizer, also from API. So it's been there for a month, so we're going to take a look at it and see what it's doing right now. If you've just been checking out the channel and you're interested in my journey with plants, do check out the terrarium build that we're currently working on, which is Kong Skull Island. The infrastructure is in, and what's interesting about the build is you can see it right off here to the camera on my right. It's built inside a firebox, which is pretty cool. It's waterproof now. It does rain inside there if I wanted to, but I made an epic fail, which a video I just posted, where I used some insecticide and it pretty much killed or bleached out my moss mountains that I had in there, and my moss at the top level of the terrain, as you can see. So check out that video. But today's video is going to be about the dwarf hairgrass, because the whole point is we've got the tank builds that are going to be coming up in 2025, which is the Trinity series. And the keystone feature of the Trinity series is the center tank. Now, those of you not familiar, the Trinity tanks are 3 tanks that are slightly oblong, and they're going to be housed on one shelf, side by side. So it's going to be 3 tank builds, but with one overall consistent theme in it. And I want it to be the hardscape and also some plant choices. So I want to be able to put plants from one into the next, so that it looks like a continuation or a flow of a underwater scene. Now that's like a brief exaggeration of what it's going to be, because the centerpiece tank is going to be called Turtle in Motion. The key point of Turtle in Motion is that turtle is diving down and is getting ready to eat some dwarf hairgrass. It's basically what it's going to do. Because if we know turtles eat grasses, they will dive. So I'm trying to do something that's very, very lifelike mimicking, and as far as it being a theme. So where Skull Island has a cinematic theme, Turtle in Motion has a very personal theme for me, because of an episode I had while I was in Barbados involving live baby sea turtles hatching. And so if you stick around to the end of the video, that's going to be my little bonus feature about one of the perks of being a flight attendant. And sometimes we have the opportunity to see things that are once in a lifetime. So hang out to the very end and listen to that little clip about the sea turtle birthing. So for right now, let me get you set up the camera so you can see it. Now what I'm going to try and do is I've taken some of the previous video pics, and I want to do a screen on screen so we can do a comparison to see what we actually really have evolving over the last month. You'll be able to tell the difference between the two automatically, because in the first video, the original video, I was very, very aggressive in pulling apart the dwarf hairgrass. So I just ordered one little section of it and then split it up like crazy, and that's why I put so much fertilizer into it, because I want to encourage those little shoots to connect themselves together, because Turtle in Motion needs a complete foreground on the front side and the sides of that tank to be full of dwarf hairgrass. I want a thick carpet to make it look very realistic, and that's also going to be one of my pops of color. It's going to come for that, because if I can give you, I'll give you a quick screenshot. Actually, Turtle in Motion is sitting on the shelf for the studio right here to my left, and I can show you there what I'm talking about, why it needs a pop of color in it. So let's get set up so you can take a look at it. But the second tub that we're looking at, or the tub now, 30 plus days later, I added more water into it. So you can immediately tell the difference between which photo is the old one and which one is the current one, because there's a heavier water layer. So if we're having trouble deciding what really has grown, we can always tell by, okay, focusing on a spot in the original, finding the same spot, because I've opened the tub up. Tub is situated just like I did the first one, to where my label on the tub is in the exact same position as it was for the first video. So let me turn this around and we'll get going. Okay, just really quickly, here is what I was talking about. You can see now we have the shelf. Up above the shelf is the Living Moss art install. Those of you who have checked out some of my videos, I have complained about that every time I have to work on it, because there is a drip irrigation up there to keep that moss hydrated, and I keep having to fiddle with it like crazy because one side is always drippier and another side is always drier. So I'm trying to leave it alone for like a month and not play with it anymore and see what happens with it. But as you can kind of tell, there's some yellowing on the moss up there as well. The insecticide that I sprayed in Kong Skull Island, I actually sprayed up here as well, because this is where the gnat flies started, was in this moss. And it wasn't because it was in a growth chamber and they just exploded. No, this is something that happened, I think, when I introduced something else from another growth chamber, and a couple of them must have got out and went straight to the moss wall. So the ones that are in the growth chambers I kill those, but this, unfortunately, there's still some around it, so I'm killing them as I can. So now if you'll, right here, let's zoom in just a little. All right, so when I was talking about the color, and let me grab my makeshift handy dandy pointer, which has got a shovel head on it, which I love because it's one of my terrarium tools, but this works perfect. Okay, so here is the turtle feature. I found this piece of driftwood in a fire pit out in nature. And you can't see it from the color, but if I had the camera lights on, you would see it better. There's a lot of white in the backside of here. And then, of course, the rock that it's sitting on, I found that at another location. It's curved as well. And it's kind of a beigey with a yellow tint on it. Not that yellow that's sitting right there. That's one of those stickers for the gnats that accidentally fell into the tank. So that tank is just hanging out until we're ready to plant it. And then you'll have this one on this side. This is prayer hands. And this one over here is bird on a wire. So that gives you the update on the tank setup. So now let's go to the tub itself and see what we can come up with. Okay, I think this is going to work better. Yeah. You guys can see I'm going to do two spans, one with this light above it and one just using the camera light. Because we're getting reflection because there's, a layer of water in here. I know I'm super picky about the lighting, but... Okay, so my battery decided to go kaput when I was just finishing the end scene on the tub. But as you can tell, all the plants look a little thicker, a little taller. So we're 1 month into it, so we know, okay, my biggest fear was maybe I was going to kill something or it wasn't going to grow at all. So now I feel a lot more confident about that. And that's what this is all about, is documenting a newbie's beginner into the hobby and how we're going to tackle the budget constraints. So if you've enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, comment. Like is amazing because that tells YouTube that, hey, this video is worth seeing. Subscribe says, hey, their content is amazing. And comment is like the gold standard. It's like the trifecta, where if you get something like that and there's dialogue in the channel, which is what I would love to have, that tells YouTube a lot. So it helps tiny channels like mine get to a larger platform so that I can help other beginners out there that are having the same issues or hesitant about jumping into the hobby just because of the cost factor and not knowing where to start. So that's my shameless plug. Anyway, See you guys later. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Welcome back. I know you thought you were done. You're not done. So I promised a bonus clip at the end, and so I want to tell you about, since we're talking about the dwarf hairgrass and the inspiration, this is how my brain kind of works. I was out in nature doing my nature walk, which is how I like to do a lot of gathering for botanicals, any plants that I can use in nature that I can use in a terrarium specifically to get anything, you know, more cost effective. And I'm in the middle of Texas where it's always a drought in the summer, so I started back 4 months ago in September with the hobby and became obsessed immediately about the hobby and started being able to find a little bit of moss and some hardscaping. So the very first place I went to, which was on a nature walk, was about a mile just from where I live. And it described itself as a nature trail with a rocky terrain. So I thought, okay, maybe let's see what's out there. And I was hoping for, maybe I would find maybe some moss growing under bushes or shrubs or something, and maybe I might find some dried wood or even some rock species that I could take advantage of. And it was at noon, it was 110 degrees, I was sweating like crazy, I couldn't find anything. So I was really defeated, and I was walking back to the parking lot. And I noticed adjacent to the parking lot there was this massive boulder, which is probably why they put a park there. I mean, the trail is on one side, but the boulder is on the other side. There's not a trail going to the boulder. You just walk up the boulder. And so I did. I walked up on top of the boulder, and it's massive. I mean, it's really massive. And I was looking around, and I found 3 pieces of dried driftwood that had been bleached like it's been sitting in the sea. So it's got like a whitish toned bleach to it. Now I don't have that out anywhere to quickly grab it to show it to you, but I was walking around, and so there was a old fire pit where apparently people are cooking out or whatever, and which would be totally safe there because the whole thing is rock, so there's no chance of anything else catching on fire. And I looked down, and there's this piece of wood that you just saw earlier in the video, and it picked it up, and I'm looking at the charred side of it, and it just spoke to me. I mean, literally the piece spoke to me and said sea turtle. And so when I saw that it resembled a sea turtle, to me the snout or the head coming down out front, and then the backside really kind of looked like it could be 2 feet coming out. It took me back to a layover I had, and so here's the bonus part of the story. This was several years ago when I was actually on reserve, and for us that means you sit around and wait for a trip, and all of a sudden you get a trip, and then you just find out right then where you're going. And I was going to have a Barbados trip. Well, the trip delayed because of mechanical, and I believe it was between 2 and 3 hours. So normally we should have been at the hotel like by 10 o'clock at night. We didn't get in until after midnight because of our mechanical. And so it was already after midnight when we got checked in. It was 1 a.m. I got changed. I wanted to go down to the beach. The hotel's right on the beach. And I'd stayed there before because I was based in Miami at the time. And a lot of my trips, I was an international flight attendant then. So all my trips were always international. So I've been to all the islands zillions of times. I know that sounds horrible. Some of you are going like, I never get to go to an island. Okay, always ask a flight attendant. Ask in the comments if you want to know where my favorite places are, and I will tell you the unbiased truth about all the islands I've been to and which ones I would go to as a paying customer. So anyway, I decide I'm going outside. So I go out, and it's dark out. I could not see a moon, and I'm sitting on the beach where the sand is still wet, not in the surf, but it was still wet, and I felt something brush up against my foot, and I thought, oh, it must be, crabs out or something. And the one rare time, I never take my cell phone down to the beach because I'm always scared of losing it or getting it wet or dropping it or something. I have my cell phone in my pocket, so I pull my cell phone out and turn the light on. Oh my gosh. I was legit surrounded by hundreds of baby sea turtles, and they were going the wrong direction. The hotel had lights that shine from the hotel's point of view out to the beach area. Now, there was a barrier to get into the grounds of the hotel, and I know why it's there now. It's like not even a 2-foot step up of concrete, so the turtles couldn't get to the hotel grounds. The turtles were just actually hitting the concrete and just piling up right there together. And so I ran in and told the hotel, and they said, okay, they would, there's people that will come out, and if I wanted to go out and help sending them back to the ocean, I could use my cell phone light and just walk the light backwards into the water, and the turtles would follow me. Sure enough, they did. It was amazing. I was having the time of my life. And I thought, I'm seeing these creatures that one of them could be over 100 years old, and I'm having an interaction with them right now. So it's about maybe 40 minutes later when park authorities show up, and this is what they did. They just grabbed buckets and picked the turtles up that were at the wall, and were just put them in a bucket, and then just take the bucket to the water's edge, and then shine light at the water, and the turtles all go into the water. And so I'm sitting there going, oh, we can touch them. Oh my God, that just changed everything. I literally sat down with my light on my cell phone, and I was like looking at all the turtles, and I was touching some of them. I was like, oh my God, now I'm touching them. So seeing the driftwood with the turtle just inspired me that, okay, I'm on the right path here. And I've had, with every piece of hardscape that I have found, it has came to me immediately what I want to do with that piece. So I don't know if that's because I've dabbled in art before and my brain kind of works that way, but also being a flight attendant, one of the wonderful things I always think about my job, number one, is the interaction I have with my passengers, because I get to meet people from all over the world that I would never run across. And I get to share stories with them, and they tell me things, and sometimes it's about why they're trying, or what is it like being a flight attendant, or they know someone who's a flight attendant, and they just love talking to us. They love finding out what we're about. And so I love that aspect of the job, because I love interacting with my passengers. And but when you're on a layover and something like this, it just made it magical that I had the experience in Barbados on that particular layover. And then years later, I'm going to start aquascaping, and I had a flashback to that with Turtle in Motion. So there's your bonus part. And if you've made it this far, please do the like, subscribe, and comment. I would love to know your comments. So you guys be safe, and I'll see you on the next video.